Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There podcast. Super excited for this upcoming interview. We'd like to welcome another legend of the business, known best for her roles in Thanksgiving, Saw 6, and Mutant X, the amazing Karen Cliche. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Wonderful. Doing wonderful. Still full from yesterday, but I'm good.
Did you have turkey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pork, dessert, all of it.
Absolutely. Well, Karen, let's get right into it. I mean, it seems like acting was always your, say, destiny, and from what I understand, there's a great story where McDonald's kind of led to you becoming an actress. Can you fill us in on that?
Oh, the famous McDonald's discovery story. Yeah. Well, I was working at McDonald's since I was pretty young. I think I even slipped in there. They hired me a little bit before they should have. I think I was just before turning 15. And I worked there for about 6 years. And while I was there, I had gotten approached a few times for modeling opportunities, and I was just like, no, I don't want to model. But I had always been acting in high school and was like top of my drama class and all that, and it was always my dream to be an actress. But it was just one of those things I just assumed was always just going to be a dream. And so finally, I took someone up on their offer to start modeling, and then that kind of led me to be with an agency that opened up an acting division. And then I just started auditioning, and I started booking right away for roles, and yeah, it just kind of was a really like quick thing from that moment on. So thank you, McDonald's. I must have looked good in my fuchsia polo with my fuchsia what is it called, like a visor. That was the outfit back then.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely talk about the stars aligning there. That's crazy. So you've got over 50 acting credits attributed to you, pretty balanced mixture of TV and movies. Do you prefer acting on television or movies? I mean, how do they differ most as far as you're concerned?
I spent most of my career, I think, doing more TV, especially my 20s was all TV series, like about 7 leads in TV shows. And then I would do some movies in between. And because the TV pace is so fast, and I'm a pretty hyper person, and I have a lot of energy, and I'm pretty impatient. So that suited me just fine to just
Nice.
be like doing, 15 pages a day. That was amazing. And then when I started doing movies, I was like, huh? 1 page a day? I'm like, we're doing a 16-hour day doing 1 page. And sometimes it was like a big action movie, like this big action movie I did with Stephen Dorff years ago. I mean, my God, I remember they were half-page days because it was trucks colliding and this and that. So in terms of like easier as an actor, it is because you've got a few lines per day.
Right.
No problem. And then TV is like, you better know 15 pages of dialogue. So it's intense, but I think I'm more used to TV pace. So I would say I prefer that. Like TV movies, TV series, anything. I mean, I'm an actor. I'll take anything.
Right.
Yeah. 15 pages of dialogue in one day, though. Whew, I can't remember what I did yesterday. But anywho, like we mentioned off air, I'm a huge fan of Saw 6, so I have to ask you about working on it. You were involved in one of the more memorable Jigsaw games, the Shotgun Carousel, which is, I'm not just saying this, but it's my favorite group trap, not group chat, for sure. And you managed to live to talk about it. How did that role come about? Do you have any memorable stories from working on that movie you care to share?
So yeah, I mean, back then it was in-person auditions. So, as we know now, it's all self-tapes. We hole up in our basement and just pump them out. And, so yeah, I did, an audition, and I think I had auditioned for a different role. And then they cast me as Shelby. And, that was amazing. And that was like that carousel, was slowly moving all day long. And when we were filming that scene, I was actually newly pregnant. And if any ladies out there know what it's like in your first 3 months, you want to throw up so badly all the time. And so that was crazy. I was like, the whole time. And here we are with like blood and guts in each other's hair. And I was like, who wants some barf? 'Cause I'm about to deliver.
Right.
Not the baby, the barf.
Right.
So that was pretty crazy. That was crazy. But yeah, I survived. I mean, we were all pretty trash people, characters, but I must have pleaded and done a good job doing that.
I just want to ask one quick follow-up before we move on. We had Julie Benz from Saw 5, the film previous to yours. She spoke on like how traumatized she was from you know how realistic the sets were. It's like she would, like when they called cut, she's like, "What happens if I don't make it through this trap?" The director was like, "We'll just call cut." Like, did you have that same effect? Like leaving the set, were you still traumatized? Or she says the Billy doll still scares her to this day.
I think that I'm really good at separating acting from real life. Like, I mean, just look at Thanksgiving, I wasn't traumatized at all by that. I think I have this ability to just be in the moment 100% and then out, and then be in the moment 100% and come out. Like, I don't need a lot of time to get in the moment. I don't need a lot of time to get out. Maybe that's a mental illness that I have. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sociopath.
No.
No, no.
I don't know. Maybe yet to be diagnosed, but no, I was okay. I wasn't traumatized.
Cool,
good.
cool.
Okay, so it is the holiday season. So, of course, we want to talk about a movie that was an instant cult classic and has become a staple this time of year for many people. 2023's Thanksgiving. You played Kathleen, and man, talk about a brutal demise she faced. Can you talk to us about that project and what it was like working with Eli Roth?
Oh, that was amazing. Like, that was again, that was a self-tape that I sent in. And then a few weeks later, I got the part. I didn't have a callback. I didn't have anything. And I was like, oh, what's this movie about Thanksgiving? How cute. What's this? And then my agent told me, he's like, oh, this is based on, watch the Grindhouse trailers. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, can I swear on that? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was like, oh, this is not your little family gathering Thanksgiving movie. So I had known Eli, well, not personally, but I had known his work. Hostel was one of my favorite of his. And so I was like, oh, shit, this is big. This is going to be good. And so long story short, we actually shot that in the spring in and around Toronto. That was amazing. And originally my part was, the last time you see me is when we get abducted in the parade. And then I show up as, Thanksgiving dinner. And so we wrapped the movie. That was amazing. What a great experience. And in the summer, I was doing ADR, which is just kind of some voiceover stuff with Eli. And then a few weeks later, he texts me and he's like, are you ready for more? And I'm like, more ADR? Like, what do we need? What do you mean? And he's like, this is my idea. And he told me the exact thing that he had in mind. Me roasting in the oven, the whole cat and mouse scene, the whole like basting with all the ingredients. And he was like, let me pitch it to Sony. Let me write it, pitch it. I'll get back to you. I was like, okay. And so, a couple weeks later, he was like, we're on. Are you available? Whatever it was, August, September. And so we shot all that after the fact. And the movie came out like a week later. I mean, sorry, a month later or something. But that was crazy. That was, so it was just me and Alex who, played John Carver. And it was insane. So it was all an afterthought, thankfully.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us about what all went into the makeup and prosthetics and the filming process for that scene? Seemed like it was crazy.
Yeah, so me and a couple of other of the cast went down to LA in February last year, got a mold done of our head and teeth and everything, so they can make my head in the sweet potatoes. And so flew back home. And then when we did those reshoots, when I actually had to be like, burning alive in the oven, we had to get some prosthetics for my whole body. So that was another process. I didn't go to LA for that. I did it with a company in Toronto, and they just kind of like took a mold of everything again. And so on the day, we just kind of divided it into stages. When I first got into the oven, then we did all that stuff. And then, I would leave set and just get 2-hour prosthetics on me. And then taking it all off was about 3 hours at like 4 a.m, because it's just it's all stuck, right? It's such a process. And I was finding little pieces of latex skin on me for like the next 2 weeks, which was embarrassing because I was like trying to explain to people. I was like, that's not my skin. Like I'm not peeling like a weirdo. But so it was intricate, and they were so amazing. The special effects people, they were so talented.
Yeah, it definitely looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then last question on that. So regarding that death scene, rumor has it that there's a deleted or extended version of that. Is there any truth to that?
Well, there's probably lots of, we shot just the oven stuff in one day. Like that's a lot. I mean, by the end of the day, I remember telling Eli, I was like, literally, like I couldn't speak. And I said, I have one more take in me. So if we're going to shoot a wide, I'm going to fake scream. So at one point I was just like opening my mouth and stuff because I had no more voice. And then when, he wanted like one last amazing shot, we did that. And I screamed. But I think that, no, the little tidbit of that is that scene wasn't even in the original script, and we shot it, afterwards. So that's the little behind the scenes kind of like little tidbit for you there. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots of cutting room floor things. We did it so much over and over and over again.
Sure.
For sure. Before we move on, is there anything about Thanksgiving that you can share? I mean, we actually just watched that as a group, so it's kind of fresh in our minds. Do you have any fun stories that you'd like to share with everybody before we move on?
Only just that it was a really, really great cast. I know that like the young ones, the kids, we call them, they all just bonded like crazy. They became like best friends. They're still all such good friends to this day. Everybody was just so friendly. I had most of my scenes with Rick, who was amazing, and we just hit it off like crazy. And yeah, like at one point, okay, here's like a funny story. So Rick and I were, we're on the float, and we were on that thing all day long. Right? It was kind of cold. And so at one point we were talking, we were really getting to know each other and sharing all these stories. And, we have our warm-up jackets on, and then we're like, okay, and action, so I take mine off, whatever. And then we keep talking and we're doing our thing. And then it's like this long parade, right? It took about an hour to reset every time. And so we turn the corner. We've just done our whole scene where there's the explosions, the chicken getting chopped off. And then Rick's like, oh my God, I have my warm-up jacket on still. So they filmed the whole thing, and he had his like big, North Face puffer jacket, and he's like, "Oh my God, like that was unusable, that whole thing." Anyways, we never heard anybody freak out, so I think they just didn't use that tape on us. But he was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Okay, let's focus. We gotta focus now."
That's awesome. I'm a big Rick Hoffman fan. Suits is maybe top 3 favorite show of mine, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
he's great. He was a really good rapper too. Who knew? Like he was rapping.
What?
I know. They were like rapping. Down in the basement at one point. We were like waiting to shoot, and then he was like doing his thing. I was like, wow, big talent.
Wow,
that's awesome. Who would have thought?
I know.
We also saw that you're attached to Brian Bertino's next project of Vicious, alongside Dakota Fanning, Catherine Hunter. I believe it's set to release in February of next year. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so what's crazy about that is I'm not in the movie. Okay, so here's where, so I had auditioned for her older sister, and Dakota's mostly alone in this whole film. She's got maybe like 2 scenes with her sister, one with like an older woman, and I had auditioned for her sister. So they end up going with someone, so I came really close. They end up going with someone who looked a little bit more like her. Anyway, so then I get this call from them, and they're like, she does most of her acting by herself on the phone, talking, just a lot of phone calls, and they couldn't just have like some, the AD reading these intense lines, because it's a very, very emotional, very, very heavy, creepy, scary movie. It's amazing. And so they're like, we would like to offer Karen the part of being the voice on the other line anytime she's on the phone or anytime she needs an off-camera person to act with.
Nice.
And so I was like, great, sure, I'll come in a couple of days and I'll do that, no problem. And I worked on the whole movie, because when I got the script, it was like she's on the phone all the time, and the other person is like really like, I'm acting as several different people, and some possessed. Anyway, it was just really, really cool. So they actually made me I would rehearse with her and Brian, and then I would go into my little sound booth that they built me offset, and I had her on the monitor, like super close up, and I had my microphone, and I just was acting with her like super intimately. It was such a great experience for like 2 months. And it was incredible. Like acting off of someone as talented as her was such an honor, and it was really great. So I think that my voice work, because I do a lot of voice work and voice commercials, I think that really helped the understanding of how to manipulate my voice, because I was just whispering in her ears sometimes. So we had such a great working relationship, and it's cool. So that's how I'm involved. You won't see me in the movie, but I was there doing the off-camera stuff for her on the phone.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have to ask this. There's a trend online, and I always like to ask our guests, are you familiar with Letterboxd? Okay, so Letterboxd it's like a social media for logging movies, and you can write your review, rate them, stuff like that. So the trend is to ask you what your top four Letterboxd films are. So in other words, What's Karen Cliche's favorite 4 movies? I know it's a tough question, and you don't have to be genre specific, but what would you say your top favorite films are?
Well, I know this answer.
Okay.
They're all the movies I'm in. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeff Goldblum did that recently.
Can you imagine?
Jeff Goldblum recently did that. He just named all of his movies.
Who's this?
Jeff
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Ow, he stole my joke. I'm going to call him. So I really love comedies. I kind of started my career in comedy too, so I really, really love comedy. So my number one favorite comedy is Best in Show. That's my favorite comedy. I can watch it over and over again. I just love those actors. I love the stupidity of it. I love the brilliance of the improv. And then my favorite rom-com is When Harry Met Sally. So that's my favorite rom-com there. And in terms of dramas, I love One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's one of my favorite.
Really good one.
I can watch over and over again. It just kills me. I don't know, it just touches me for some reason. It's such a great movie. And then I would say Shawshank Redemption is another one that I really, really love. So
Go wrong.
yeah, I love dramas and I love comedies. I do love action movies as well. I really do. I would have loved to have been in Angelina Jolie's part in Salt.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. So I love action roles too. So yeah, I've done a couple horror movies, but they're the last thing on my list in terms of what I like to watch. I like other genres better.
It's awesome. That's a very solid list.
That's very fair. We're about to let you go. We appreciate your time, but is there anything else you'd like to promote, shout out? Where can the fans follow you? Maybe social media?
So yeah, I have this kind of an indie comedy coming out called Race Walkers. We filmed it last fall, so I guess it should be coming out soon. It's really funny. It's about race walkers, and it's funny. I play a reporter, so we got to do some improv there. It's a really, really funny cast in that. That was really cute. So people can follow me. I'm mostly, the only social media I really do is on Instagram. I'm always there, so you can find me at Karen Cliche on Instagram. And yeah. That's that. I also do cameos. I'm on Cameo. So you can find me there if ever you want to chat, because I do love doing it. So I'm always happy to get those requests.
Absolutely. Do you do conventions by any chance?
I do. Oh, yeah. I have a lot of those coming up. Just did a bunch this year. In January, I'm in New Mexico and California. And my gosh, I think we're going to be in Pittsburgh and San Antonio and Chicago. So look out for those horror cons. And yeah, we just love, me and Alex do a lot of them together, mostly. So we'll be there, loving meeting the fans and stuff. So
yeah, Alex was at Spookala a couple years ago. You need to come down to either Tampa or Orlando. I'd love to meet you one day.
Okay. All right. Done. Is it hot?
There you go. We'll
Is
just
there no
show
snow?
up.
I'm in.
No snow.
No snow. It'll be 80 degrees in October.
I'm coming. Love it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll probably wrap things up. We really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
Have a wonderful vacation. You deserve
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. I can't wait.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.